And now broadcasting from the EFX Sports Studio, it's ESPN EFX Sports Radio with Dr. Jeff Galini.
Well, welcome to another episode of EFX Sports Radio. My name is Dr. Jeff Galini, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Brian Andrews.
I am here, and you know what? I am all jacked up on Mountain Dew. I'm ready to come at this show like a spider monkey.
And I know you ain't drinking Mountain Dew. I know you've been sipping Shock.
Yeah, okay, let's admit it. It's a shock.
But that is one of my favorite sayings, though.
Yeah. That's just how I'm feeling right now.
I hear you. I'm the same, man. Well, hey, a lot of people have asked us over the years, do athletes really need supplements? And, without just not even, being rude and just going, well, yes, I thought this would be a good show for us to talk about, why do athletes need supplements? I mean, why do they?
Well, it's funny you ask that question because I hear that a lot, especially when we're doing trade shows. Yeah, a lot of people are like, well, wait a minute. I mean, I think the vast majority already understand. They want a little something extra if they can get it, an extra edge. But when it's all said and done, I say yes, because again, we're talking about the difference between 20, 30 years ago when you didn't have the options we have today. And I mean, this industry on a whole has come so far. I'm talking about the legal side of this thing with, sports performance enhancement type, ergogenic supplements. Yeah,
I just cringe when somebody, I'm giving them a carbolin sample or I'm doing a talk and somebody comes up and says, I don't believe in supplements. And you go, why? They go, oh, because, I get it all from my foods. Really? Well, I turn around and go, well, you know what? If you could eat right, be right, and do right, then you're probably good. But who can be perfect? And you just cannot get it all from your foods. Yes, you can get the minimum amounts, but athletes are demanding more from their bodies.
Well, absolutely. And again, I'm going to say it comes back to technology. Maybe they just haven't been exposed to what we offer, what we know, what we've been through. There's a distinct difference for the majority of people. For example, creatine, one of our flagships, that when they use something like that, they really see a difference in their performance, recovery, strength in and out of the gym. I mean, just well-being. And I just think, wow, you're really missing the boat if you're not even using that.
Yeah, absolutely. Technology. I mean, that's what we continually talk about. You wouldn't use your cell phone from 2 years ago. Why? It was good for them, but it's outdated. Well, same with supplements. Look at these high-performance race cars. You would not pull up to your local gas station and put some good old, unleaded gas in there. They aren't going to run efficiently. Will the engine start? Absolutely, but it's not going to perform. Same thing with an athlete. If you eat a very good balanced diet and you get enough, yes, it will work. But if you want to kick it up, you want to jump higher, run faster, and be stronger, you gotta put the top fuel stuff in there, and that's where supplements, come into play. So yes, I mean they are important.
Well, and there's really two sides to this. We're talking about health, your just overall health and well-being, and then also performance. And I'm talking about being able to run faster, jump higher, throw harder, lift more weight, whatever that part of it is. So there's supplements that go into both directions. For example, a multivitamin, you're typically going to take more for the health side, but if you're not healthy, that's the foundation. Yeah, it's not sexy to maybe take a vitamin. It's not as cool as a pre-workout or some of the other high-end things we talk about. You don't get that base covered, then the rest really doesn't matter. You got to have that foundation. And for someone to say they don't really believe in this, a lot of those same people, if you ask them, hey, do you drink coffee in the morning? Oh yeah, man, I can't live without it. Well, that's technically a supplement. That goes in the realm of where we're talking here.
Absolutely, and it's kind of funny because even athletes or people in general, the first sign of my body not working right, you run to the doctor. Well, how about looking at supplements? If you can't sleep at night, you need some zinc. If your wounds aren't healing, you need some zinc. Just did Science for Human, about zinc. I mean, you are deficient in something at some time. Same with protein. It's very, very difficult for people to get in enough protein. Working here with our local universities, and that's a big thing, at that high school collegiate level, is they're only getting 3 meals a day. And you don't want to go and overload on protein to get your protein for the day. You've got to supplement in between meals, with some type of supplement. And protein is a good supplement.
Yeah, and again, there's also the factor of just sheer convenience. So it's one thing to say I want to eat 5-6 meals a day, but I'm trying to think about trying to cook 5 or 6 chicken breasts or all the eggs, the steak. How about I just mix up a quick shake, which has all the same basic nutrients to it? I'm good to go.
Absolutely. Now, what do you think, what is your rule of thumb when we're talking about kids? What is an age that a kid could start on some supplements, and what supplements would you recommend for that starting age?
Wow, that's kind of a tough one, but I will say this. I mean, hey, Flintstones makes those little kids chewables. I mean, they got it right. They understand that, a body when it's growing needs good nutrition. And, the default, the simple thing is, hey, let's go grab some McDonald's. That's okay every now and then. Again, all things in moderation. But you know what? I don't see any reason why even like a 5 or 6-year-old couldn't at least take a basic little vitamin. Again, let's just make sure we got all the holes filled, all the bases covered, and let that body grow on good nourishment and nutrition. And granted, they don't replace eating a good diet, especially for a kid. I mean, I've got kids. I mean, they're relatively young. At least my daughter, she's now 8. She hates almost everything at that age for whatever reason. Vegetables, it's just kind of one of those things that she'll hopefully grow out of. But hey, I give her a little vitamin just to take. I don't see any problem with that. Now, when you're getting to performance, probably a little, towards the teen years would probably be a little bit safer. Now, granted, we're talking about still the basics, the creatines, that type of thing.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with a lot of these kids, even in the 9 and 10-year-old football leagues that we work with, getting them on protein and getting them on Carbolin because, again, they eat terrible. Research shows that over 30% of a kid's diet is fast food. Now, that might not seem like a lot, but, that's 1 meal out of the day. They're eating fast food. But that doesn't mean the other 2 meals are eating balanced. So, again, I would always recommend, a kid getting on some protein, even as, a 4th, 5th grader. And then, Carbolin. I mean, they need carbohydrates. The mass market, is pushing all those sugar drinks and Sure and stuff on kids as being a suitable, replacement or to help them replenish their nutrition. But again, I don't consider that supplement. When you got a bunch of sugar in something, that's a sugar drink.
Well, sure. And you said protein. I mean, of course, we would use that as athletes to, for recovery, for muscle growth, but it's also just a basic need that you have a high-end quality protein. I think anyone at any age could drink that and benefit from it.
Absolutely. And, you heard it here. Caffeinated drinks are not a dietary supplement. They are counterproductive. So don't go buy Monster drinks as a meal replacement. There are a lot of good companies that do make some good protein drinks, but they're made by sports companies. They're not made by non-sports companies. Labrada Nutrition makes one that I like, but there's quite a few different ones out there that are not bad, that you can buy protein drinks.
Sure. And again, we're talking about more of a basic supplementation, especially for the younger generation. And I'm talking about single digits on up into the low teens. I mean, of course, as you mature, you're say 18, that level. Now you can get into more of the higher end stuff, but you got to tread with caution, as we know. There's a lot of good reputable companies, and there's not so reputable companies.
And of course, we are biased to EFX Sports because we can make whatever we want. But again, there's other companies that are doing a good job. So, we would never say that EFX Sports is the only company out there and everyone else is rubbish. That's not true. There is a lot of garbage, but there are a lot of good companies that, have some good products too. I think, again, as a kid starts to get into that high school, that's about the time that I make sure they get on a good, high B-complex vitamin like our VitaDrive. And then that's when I introduce Crealkaline because that's when they now can start using some creatines. But other than that, again, they don't need all the fancy schmancy stuff that you find at GNC. Those are for adults. Those aren't for kids,
Well, hey, Jeff, let's go to break. And when we get back, I want to talk about a situation where I would say flat out, you don't need supplements.
Sounds good.
Hey everybody, I'm Billy Gordon. I'm one of the coaches for the Heights Wrestling Club. I just wanted to take a minute and talk to you about EFX Sports and what their products have done for me and my wrestlers and the athletes that I lead. 6 months ago, I got introduced to EFX Sports and I immediately started using them myself. The results have been nothing short of amazing. My body fat and weight have come down drastically. My strength has increased. If you get the opportunity, I highly recommend you give it a shot.
This is Dr. Jeff Galini of All American Pharmaceutical. I'm sure you've been seeing our national brand EFX Sports featuring Carbolin and Crealkalin all around the state lately. Our supplements are formulated for pros to high schoolers to just the average gym goer and are all about improving your game. You can find EFX Sports in Billings at Yellowstone Fitness, Lucky's, Bonanza's Health Food, Granite Fitness, and GNC, just to mention a few.
EFX! Do you know how to properly use carbohydrates to ignite your performance in the field and in the gym? You will now, thanks to this free book by EFX Sports. The Carb User's Guide for Maximum Performance reveals why omitting carbohydrates from your diet can totally crush your gains. Ever wonder how many grams you need for your specific sport? Not anymore. We give you the critical number you need to dominate your competition. You'll even discover the super carb that's taking the athletic world by storm. You must try it to believe it. Go to getcarbolin.com/carb guide today and get your copy absolutely free. Once again, it's getkarbolin.com/CARBGUIDE.
Well, welcome back to the EFX Sports Radio Show. Here with Mr. Brian Andrews, and we're just talking about supplements. Do you need them? What age is good for kids?
Right. And before the break, I mentioned I wanted to bring up a topic where I would say you don't actually need supplements. And this is it. This is the scenario I like to paint, especially when we're at trade shows talking to consumers, is to try to set the record straight and get them on the right path. And it's this. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this over and over. People come up and they say, what do you got? When we always start with, hey, wait a minute. What are your goals? What is it you want to do? I want to lose fat, get stronger. I'm a football player, whatever. So we kind of get into some of the products, but I say, whoa, stop. Obviously, I would love for you to use my products. Hey, we'll take your money. But at the end of the day, I always say, tell me how you eat and train first. Because I know for a fact that they don't have that part nailed down. No supplement on the planet outside of going over to the dark side, into the legal stuff is going to do a thing for you. And I said, I just don't want you to get the stuff that I'm telling you I know will work, and you don't have the experience you need, or I want you to have with it if you don't get that diet and training right. So don't waste your time and money. And they usually look at you like, are you kidding? Did you really just say that? But I just say, I know long term, I want you as a customer for life, not just let me just push this little bit on you now, because I don't want you to go out and tell people this stuff doesn't work when on your side of the table you didn't do everything it took.
Well, it's interesting because you said the dark side. Let's define that. There are things they call them sports enhancing products, sports enhancing drugs. Come on, they're steroids. They're illegal and they're dangerous. But those don't work either without a diet, and good training. So I remember back in the Gold's Gym days, good gosh, like 99% of the people at Gold's use steroids, and only about 2% look like it. I mean, you would look and say, what, you're using steroids?
Yeah, I think that is probably one of the single most misunderstood things when it comes to sports performance enhancement. And again, we're talking about on the illegal side of the coin, is you look at a guy who can hit a baseball. Well, guess what? just because he maybe is bigger and stronger, that's not where it's at. It's genetics, it's his dedication, his training. And I can tell you flat out, there's no magic pill. Take all the drugs you want. You're not going to look like Mr. Olympia, period.
No, and a lot of people, as I'm sure you have seen, when I'm in a booth or something, they'll come up and go, "What is this? Oh, sports nutrition? Nah, I don't want to use that creatine, crealkaline because I don't want to just look like those guys with those big old muscles." And you got to go, hang on a second. First of all, you're never going to look like one of those guys with them big old muscles. And they go, well, why not? And I said, because I don't think you have the dedication. Ronnie Coleman trained 8 hours a day and ate, 10, 15,000 calories?
Right.
I mean, that's what he did. Go to Mr. Peyton. You're never going to be Peyton Manning. I mean,
No.
He's got a gift. That's a great goal that you want to, and someday somebody will outdo him. But eating one of those subs from his commercials isn't going to give you his gift. Same with supplements; they're not miracle. But when you look on a pie chart, of 100, 50% of your performance, is your God-given gift and your coach and your willingness to excel. The other 50% is nutrition and supplements. So, one without the other isn't going to improve your performance.
No. Supplements, drugs, whatever, any of this stuff, at the end of the day, it's a part of the equation. It's not the equation. There's no magic pill that's going to turn you into Mr. Olympia. And it'd be like this. I've actually used this analogy before. I've said, listen, if I could give you a magic pill right now that would give you the absolute body of your dreams, you'd wake up tomorrow and you'd have it. Then from there on, it's up to you to keep it. You would hate life. And here's why I say that, because you don't know how to handle a body like that, how to feed it, how to train it and maintain it. You would just go right back probably to where you are now. And you'd be more miserable then than you ever would be. It's like winning the lottery and winning $20 million and going bankrupt.
And one of the other things that gets me, what about all these commercials, these ads, these before and afters that take our product for 1 week and put 16 inches on your arms? I mean, what do you got? I know what I got to say about before and after pictures.
Yeah, well, in fact, I know a guy who actually wrote a book. It's kind of an underground book, so you won't really see it in, say, the regular bookstore. But he actually did. Actually, two different guys I know did the same experiment. They just changed the lighting. Literally did them one picture right after another, with 5-10 minutes apart, and they looked like a 6-week transformation just by changing the lighting.
Yeah, or they stick their belly out and they pull it in.
Yes, that's what I mean. It was hilarious to see these things side by side, and it would look just as good as any magazine ad.
Take our diet pill, and clinical trials have shown you'll lose 15 pounds. It doesn't work for everybody. I mean,
Here, let me let the cat out of the bag. I actually know a guy who did a massive ad campaign. He was the guy in the ad. He was on billboards, and he told me how they did it. They took his before picture after. In other words, his ad was he started in phenomenal shape, and then they paid him to put on 20, 30 pounds, to eat donuts, to look all bloated and out of shape. And then they took the pictures over a sequence and then put them in reverse, obviously, so it looked like he went from bad to good.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So
it's all about making the mighty dollar.
It is. So stay away from those kind of products. That's something you'll never see us do. If we have before and afters, you're going to see a whole video, or you're going to see a whole series about that man or woman, their training, what their diet was. And do supplements help? Absolutely. Will they increase, weight, performance, endurance, stamina? Absolutely. But it really comes down to, how willingness are you going to work, and, are you going to get your diet in shape? Kids, I mean, again, getting back to the fast foods, the McDonald's, they're in a hurry in the morning and they run over to the grocery store, the gas station, and, get a Monster drink or a Red Bull or a 5-hour energy. That is not going to help an athlete no more than drinking one of those, before a game or before practice. I was talking up a couple weeks ago at Rocky Mountain College to the football team, and when I started the Q&A, the trainer, or actually the coach, says, "Hey, will you talk to these guys about caffeine before a game?" And, I started talking about it, and, I could see, getting all the cockeyed looks, because I'm saying, hey, Don't do it. Contrary to how you think you feel, it does not increase your performance. It will hinder your performance, and here's why.
Right. It's temporary.
Yeah. It constricts the blood vessels, so you don't get enough blood flowing. You think you're going because your mind is racing, but your body's actually slowing down.
Right. And it's one thing to have a cup of coffee in the morning, but if we're talking about football, my thing would be is where do you want to be in the third and fourth quarter, not bounding through the first and then trying to make it through the rest of the game. That's where the stuff like carbolin comes in, even the creatines.
Yep. And, another thing that I know people see but they don't understand is these pre-workout products. There's a reason why they're called pre-workout. A workout is considered, going into the gym and beating up the weights. A workout isn't a football practice. So, again, be very aware of these pre-workouts because they all contain stimulants. Now, I'm an advocate of those on a heavy leg day, where mentally and, you're in there for a short duration of time. They do help, but you're not trying to run. You're not trying to, increase your cardio. I would never take a pre-workout and then go get on a treadmill or something.
Well, sure. And I think what we're trying to say here is supplements are basically tools. So you need the right tool for the job you're trying to accomplish, which is, like I said, I'll ask somebody before they just say, what's all these products? And I say, well, what are you trying to do? If you're trying to lose fat, you'd go here. If you're trying to increase your performance, go here, or put on mass, that type of thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that, a tool, You wouldn't want to.
They're tools. They're just like the weights. I want to build my chest. I need to use a bench press.
Yep. So we are advocates in supplements. We love supplements. That's what we do. Be aware. Do not buy supplements from your big box stores, your wholesale stores. There's a reason why that stuff is so cheap. And don't go to your dollar stores. Always go to your health food stores because those folks, that's their business. That's their livelihood. They do a lot of research to make sure they get high-end products. So again, yes, we want you to use EFX Sports. We think it's the best, and we can tell you why. But there's a lot of things we don't make. So again, go to your legitimate health food stores and ask those guys, what is a good brand? They don't carry the junk stuff.
No. They're going to have the best selection, and typically those guys are very knowledgeable. I mean, this is how they make their money, so they need to know what's on those shelves.
Absolutely, and if you want to try any EFX products, you can contact Brian. He's got free samples just waiting to get into your hands.
There you go.
How do they contact you, man?
What's that?
How do they contact us?
Yeah, you know what? Why don't you do this? Send an email to info@aaefx.com, and that'll get you directly to us to ask for some samples of the EFX Sports products.
Absolutely. One of the things that EFX Sports always says is, we can talk a good game and we can sell you anything, but don't take our word for it. You should always be able to try a supplement first. In Montana, an old saying says, you should never buy a horse before you ride it.
There you go. That sounds good to me.
Well, awesome. Man, thanks, Brian.
Yeah, sure, man. This went fast.
It did.
But this is a subject we could do a 3-hour show on, or probably a 10-hour show.
Yeah, exactly. So, we want to thank you, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Peace. We out.
Thanks for listening to ESPN EFX Sports Radio. Be sure to check out EFX Sports online at aaefx.com. And don't forget to check out EFX Sports supplements everywhere fitness products are sold.